Hello everybody, and I'd like to welcome you to another video. Today we're going to be talking about OpenBB. And before we get into OpenBB, it's going to be a pretty topical look at the platform. I myself admittedly have not had a whole lot of time with it, but I thought we'd cover it today because a few days ago I was reading an article on VentureBeat about OpenBB, and it's thus far a short story. And just to give you a little bit of history on the platform, this started, I believe, last year as the GameStonk terminal. And I guess they received an $8.5 million seed funding from a fund. And their plan is to be an open source financial analysis platform, whatever you want to call it, and hopefully be able to compete with other platforms like Icon and the Bloomberg terminal down the line. So you'll notice that I do have their corporate website up, openbb.co, and this platform is available without charge to everyone. And before we actually look at it, I guess the appropriate disclaimer would be that it is in no way ready for prime time. What you're going to see is something that's very much in progress and that still has quite a long way to go before it's a viable platform, even for retail investors. So if you're interested in getting some more information on OpenBB, you can just head over to openbb.co, and I am not doing this video as a request. I'm doing this on my own accord because I found it interesting and I thought you might too. Alright, so without further ado, let me call up OpenBB Terminal, and when you see it, you are probably going to be a little bit surprised because of just how primitive it looks. Now, when GameStonk Terminal was around, I actually installed it for fun on one of my virtual servers, and it's come, I wouldn't say it's come a long way since then, but they've definitely made some improvements. They're trying to sort of beef up their professional image by changing the name and adding things. And so the way this works is pretty straightforward. These blue items here, this column here, I should say, are different options and sections that you can access within the platform, and it's all command line based. So if you're relatively young, you probably have experience with this. If you're a coder, certainly you have experience with this. And if not, if you're more accustomed to refined platforms, I think you're going to find this to be a little bit of a challenge and a little bit of a mess. So, without further delay, let's just start exploring things. We're not going to be able to go into everything, but I just wanted to give you a feel for it. And because this doesn't carry any sort of financial charge, you can just download it yourself on a number of different platforms and play with it. So this is more of an introduction than anything else. So one thing I do want to mention before we start going into options is this keys setting here that I'm highlighting. This is a data aggregator, not unlike Bloomberg and other software, but this particular platform gets a lot of its data from third-party resources like Yahoo Finance and kathysarc.com and others you'll see in a moment. So we'll go over to keys, and when you start typing an item, it will auto-suggest what you're going to type or predict, and you can just hit tab to complete that statement. So I'm going to hit keys. And these are the various third-party services that you can add keys to. And a lot of these keys, I think most of them may be freely available. So I only added one, which was the news key. And it doesn't explain this to you, but I sort of just figured it out. If you want to add a key, you basically just type in the item. So I typed in news, and then I typed in the API key that I was provided by News API, which is as I mentioned, third-party service. So once you're done in here, what you can do is return to the home page by typing in H or home. I just do H. Actually, I'm sorry, H is help. To go home, you just do home. So I conflated H with home. H is synonymous with help. And you'll see that in action just shortly because I went home. You can see that I'm at the / which indicates home. But if you're confused and you're wondering, well, what the hell do I do now? Well, you just type in home and it will provide you, excuse me, you would type in help, not home, and that will provide you with the contextual menu for what you need, and H does the same thing. That's what I'm trying to get across here. Apologize if I've confused you. So these are the basic options. If you want to update, if you want to read more, if you want to export stuff, you can do that up here. And then these are more of the financial options. So we're going to go to stocks. I'll type in the first two letters, hit tab, and then enter. And generally it will provide me with the contextual menu with what I can do next. So much like Bloomberg, actually, you do have to load in a security pretty much before you do anything else. So for the sake of this video, we're going to load Tesla, and it will give you confirmation that the Tesla stock is loaded with the starting period of April the 3rd, 2019, with some other information. And now, for instance, if we want to get a quote, we'll just type in quote. And it's a little slow, I must say, but it'll get you what you need. And it's pulling this information, I presume, from Yahoo Finance. Another option we have available, I mean, we can scroll up, or I can just type in H again, is candle. And this will bring up a pop-up window, and you can view a simple candle chart. Actually, I'll expand that. Now, you'll notice I put in the news API, so now I have the news item available. So I'll go ahead and type in news. And news is not that helpful because it just gives you links and headlines, which is, not particularly helpful to me. I would have liked to have seen, some sort of excerpt or something, but you get what you pay for. Let's continue. I'll type in H just to refresh our menu here. Let's pop into Discover Trending Stocks, which is DISC. And you can see we have a variety of sources here. I mentioned kathysarc.com, so let's do ArcOrg. And you can see various trades put in by Kathy's fund there. If you go to kathysarc.com, you'll get a whole lot more information, but this is nonetheless somewhat helpful. Let's take a look at upcoming earnings release dates. So we'll type in upcoming. And it's, I presume, pulling the information now. Here we go. And these are earnings for today, even though I'm recording this after market close. We'll go back to H, see what other options we have available to us on this menu. Let's see, how about ASC? Oh, I mistyped that, but it actually corrected it for me, so that's pretty cool. And we'll do one more. Low float. So this is particularly useful, I suppose, for day traders who are chasing low float stocks. So let's go back to, I actually don't know how I would go back one section. I'm kind of used to being in a Linux environment where I do like a cd ... to go back one. Let me just see if I type in stocks, if it'll, no it won't. I'm just going to go home, which sets us back, do an H for the main menu. Let's see what we can pull up in terms of, I don't want to do crypto and ETF because that's pretty similar to what you would get with stocks. So let's do economy. And herein we will see show a market overview of either indices, bonds, or currencies, and it will show you the source it's pulling from. So I guess we'll just try overview and hope that it works. Okay, so that call was pretty quick. Futures. Okay. Do an H again just to show us S&P 500. index stocks map. So this is probably going to, yeah, it is going to pull up the FinViz a heat map of sorts. Fear Greed is probably going to just hotlink us to CNN.com. We'll see. Actually did not send us to the CNN page. It brought up this this particular graphic here, which I'm not sure is the CNN Fear and Greed Index that I've ever seen, but maybe I'm just losing my mind here. Okay, let's see. Obtain U.S. Treasury rates. So we'll do Treasury. That did pull up a chart, and my charts seem to open up on my main monitor, so I have to drag them in every time. I do apologize for that. Performance and valuations, real-time performance sectors, so RTPS. Okay, so this is one that requires a key, which I'm not going to do right now, but in the event that you wanted to add the key, you would just go back to Home, Keys, and you would do the Alpha Vantage one. So AV followed by whatever the key is that you were assigned. Let's just see if there's anything else in economy before I proceed here. FinViz, valuation of sectors, industry, country. Open the prediction menu to analyze stored data. There is no data stored yet. Please use them. Okay. Quantitative analysis menu. There's no data stored yet. Okay. Let's go back home. Remember doing H or help for the contextual menu. And we're going to go to, let's just quickly see what funds shows us. So I see, much like the stocks menu, we may have to load a security in here. So let's do a search. Do I just do a search or search? I don't know. Usage, search B. So, okay, so even to me, someone who's exposed to some level of code, I'm not a coder by any stretch, but I can look at, Python code, for example, and make heads and tails of it. But for someone who has no familiarity with that, and they see something like this, where, it presents you with search arguments, that can be very intimidating. And I think one of the things OpenBB is trying to do is sort of trying to make their platform more approachable to everyone. So it's going to be very interesting to see how this progresses from this point in time when I'm recording this video to, say, where the platform will be at in a year or two, especially with the funding that they've received. So I'm going to go back home, and we're going to go to alternatives, see what's in here. There's a COVID menu, which shows you stats about COVID-19. Get countries of the highest. Yeah, sure. Okay, that's pretty cool. This pulled up a chart. Show you that. And econometrics. Show a portion of loaded data sets. Okay, so I haven't seen this menu before, but I assume this is allowing you to load a custom data set for analysis here. We'll let you plot data, show a portion of loaded data set. Okay. I'm not going to get into this because I don't have any data to import, so if that's something you're interested in, by all means, go ahead and download the platform. And then portfolio, this one's actually kind of interesting. I was taking a look at this a couple of days ago. I haven't yet done it, but what it seems like to me is that they're trying to do sort of a port function in Bloomberg where you can load in your particular portfolio and get really interesting analytics about it. sort of VAR stats and whatnot. So I think this would be a good subject for its own video, so I'm not going to include that in here if there's interest, of course. Otherwise, it's probably not worth it. So this is something that I would encourage you to play with, and let's see if there's anything else before I sign off here. I know I've been going for 15 minutes already. Jupyter, I don't know if this actually has a use, or is this a reference to Jupyter Notebooks? This feature's coming soon. Use the source code in an Anaconda environment if you're familiar with Python. Okay. I think I'm going to end it here, and the reason, again, is because this is something that you can get yourself. So if you're interested in downloading this platform, I would encourage you to go to openbb.co, and you can go over to install the terminal. You can go to the repo, or you can download an installer. So this has the built-in environment with all the dependencies and all that junk, so you don't have to do it yourself. And it'll give you sort of a feature list of things that you can explore on your own. To be honest with you, I didn't see any of this stuff when I was in there, but and they also do have a pretty helpful documents page, which I'm sure they're improving upon. So again, if you're interested in taking a look at the platform, head over to that website there and take a look and let me know what you think. If there's more interest in this particular platform, I'm happy to go into it. For the next video, we're going to be going back to the Metastock Zenith, aka Refinitiv Icon platform, so be on the lookout for that. I will also include a link to the VentureBeat article that I read that sort of I learned that this became OpenBB from GameStonk, so I'll leave that as well. Thanks so much for joining me on another video. I hope that you are well, and I hope that this has been useful to you, and we'll see you next time.